Revenge on my wife for me, I read in a letter from my late son Liam, who passed away suddenly, leaving behind a once happy marriage. Revenge on my wife for me, those words were written, followed by an address I didn't recognize. Is this where Liam wants me to go? I wondered, my tears having stopped, but now replaced by cold sweats. I never imagined Liam using a word like revenge. He must have been pushed to his limits. What could I possibly find out there? Since the funeral, I had been cooped up at home, but I immediately rushed out. But I immediately left, forgetting even to do my makeup. But right now, that didn't matter. I wanted to honor my beloved son's last wish. Driven by a single purpose, I hurried to the address written in Liam's letter. The place he directed me to was a rental storage facility, a bit away from my home. Among the rows of storage units, I found the one numbered in the letter. Inserting a thin, small key that was attached to the letter into the lock, I opened the door. The small room, about the size of a half-bedroom, was dimly lit and slightly musty, despite it being daytime. When I pressed the switch for the fluorescent light next to the door, the exposed bulb buzzed to life, illuminating the room. "What is this?" I exclaimed, feeling an instinctive fear that made my whole body tremble. My name is Amelia Williams. I'm a 54-year-old part-time employee. It's been 20 years since I lost my beloved husband. He had mentioned feeling a bit unwell, and not long after, he passed away. His death was so sudden and unbelievable that I still find it hard to accept. He wasn't suffering from any serious illness and had always been diligent about his annual health checkups. Yet, despite this, he left me and our son Liam behind. After my husband's death, Liam and I lived together. At that time, Liam was just in elementary school and seemed unable to accept his father's sudden passing more than I could. My in-laws also started visiting frequently to take care of Liam. It seemed as if Liam was desperately trying to hide the loneliness of not having his father around, responding to our grief. He even encouraged me when I would frequently panic. "Mom, it's okay because I'm here." His young voice still echoes in my ears. After losing my husband, I started working part-time to raise Liam, trying to forget the sadness amidst the daily busyness. Liam never complained, even though I was often busy and away from home. He must have felt lonely too, but he never said a word and continued to encourage me. In response to Liam's support, I gradually overcame my sadness as time passed. In middle and high school, Liam started working part-time, helping with the household finances. He did this to avoid putting too much strain on me, balancing work and his studies. He was a good student, and at parent-teacher meetings, his teachers would praise him so much that it almost embarrassed me. Despite losing his father, I am grateful every day for how wonderfully he has grown up. After graduating high school, Liam started working right away. He had the grades to aim for any university, but I think he considered my situation. "I'm tired of studying," he said, and began working at a small local factory. Liam, always smart, learned his job quickly and was well liked at the factory. Despite the challenges of physical labor, his days seemed fulfilling. A few years passed, and Liam found a girlfriend. He used to stay in on his days off, but then he started going out almost every weekend. As a mother, I felt a bit lonely, but I was also relieved that my son at that age had a girlfriend. Above all, Liam seemed happy, which made me happy. He had always been considerate of me, continually supporting me. Now, I wanted him to think about his own happiness. I watched over his relationship from a distance. When Liam turned 27, he decided to get married. His fiancée was a woman 2 years his senior, named Chloe. When they got engaged, Chloe came with Liam to meet me. Compared to the rather reserved Liam, Chloe was a striking beauty with distinct facial features. I was surprised not only that Liam brought home such a woman, but also that they met at a drinking party. I was taken aback by this unknown side of my son whom I had doted on, but I had no bad impression of Chloe. She worked in sales at a cosmetics company, I learned. Perhaps because of her job, she was good at conversation, and our first meeting ended in a pleasant atmosphere. Soon after, they had their wedding, and Liam moved out to live apart from me. "Mom, are you sure you'll be okay alone? It's still in the county, but a bit far." Liam worried until the very last minute before moving. Chloe also seemed concerned about me living alone, and there was even serious talk of us living together for a while. Though it was a kind offer, I couldn't impose any further on Liam. I graciously declined their kind intentions and celebrated their new life together. Even after that, Liam frequently visited me, but I noticed he was getting thinner. He had chosen to change jobs to be closer to Chloe's company, but it seemed to be quite tough for him. Unlike the small factory he was used to, Liam had chosen a sales job, and apparently, the stress had caused him to lose his appetite. "You've lost weight again, haven't you? It's good to work hard, but it's serious if you ruin your health, you know?" Every time Liam visited home, I'd express my concern, but he would just say, "I'm fine, really," showing no intention of changing jobs. Initially, I assumed his stress was due to the unfamiliar job, but it took me a while to realize that this wasn't the only thing troubling him. "I've told him, but he won't listen. Maybe Chloe could talk to him? He can be so stubborn," I thought. 3 years into Liam and Chloe's marriage, as Liam turned 30. His complexion worsened, and he seemed on the verge of physical exhaustion. I often asked him, why not change jobs instead of overworking yourself, but he stubbornly refused. Perhaps it was his sense of responsibility from being married to Chloe that made Liam feel he couldn't just quit his job now. Seeing this, I contacted Chloe, asking her to encourage Liam to consider a job change. Chloe seemed worried about Liam getting thinner day by day and tearfully apologized to me, saying it was her fault. "Chloe, you're not to blame. Liam has always been a hard worker and tends to push himself too hard. But he might listen more readily to you than to me," I said. Honestly, I had been feeling somewhat irritated with Chloe for not doing anything about Liam's deteriorating health since their marriage. Despite my repeated requests for her to take care of him, she did nothing but apologize. Yet, I couldn't blame her outright, so all I could do was watch as Liam's health declined. Days passed since I contacted Chloe, but there was no sign of any response from her. She must know how worried I am. Wouldn't it be normal to at least get in touch? Concerned about Liam, I found myself getting irritated over small things. I decided to calm myself and took the initiative to contact her. "Hi, Chloe. Have you talked to Liam since our last conversation?" I carefully chose my words as I asked Chloe. Then, after a moment's pause, an unbelievable response came. No, it wasn't words. It was a click of the tongue. On the other end of the phone, Chloe definitely clicked her tongue. "Mother-in-law, I'm busy with my work too. I'm keeping a close eye on Liam's health. Aren't you being a bit overprotective? If he says he's fine, then he must be fine," Chloe said, sounding irritated as she rushed through her words. It wasn't the tone of voice I knew from Chloe, but it was unmistakably her. Had she been pretending all this time? As I was left speechless, Chloe seemed to regain some composure and continued. "I'm sorry. I'm just worried and getting irritated too." Chloe tried to cover it up, but my wariness towards her didn't fade. For the first time, I thought of Chloe as a potential danger. If things continued this way, Liam might be in danger. A bad feeling crossed my mind, but as long as Liam himself didn't say anything, I couldn't interfere in matters involving Chloe. Liam was due to visit in a few days, and I thought I should ask him more firmly then. Could he be troubled by something other than work? Perhaps there were serious issues in his marital life? Maybe, as Chloe suggested, I was being a bit overprotective. But it should be okay to talk when he visited. Just to listen. I managed to hide my restless feelings and waited for the day Liam would come. But my judgment was wrong. It's a decision I would regret for the rest of my life. It happened suddenly. "Is this Mrs. Williams, mother of Liam Williams?" The sudden call from the police gripped my heart with pain. A dreadful premonition shot through me, and I felt like I was about to faint. It couldn't be. Even before the officer could state their business, my mind was racing with the worst possible scenarios. Desperately trying to deny them, but feeling a sense of resignation too. I didn't want to hear any more. Fighting the urge to hang up, I nodded. As expected, it was the news of Liam's death. Liam had taken his own life. "Please, stay calm," I heard repeatedly, but I dropped the phone. Forgetting even to cry, I stood there dazed for a while. "Why, Liam?" Over and over again, like a broken person, I kept calling out Liam's name. How much time had passed? The sound of the front door being pounded on snapped me back to reality. Worried about the broken call, several police officers had come to check on me. I crawled to the front door and opened it. Seeing the officers standing there with pained expressions, I finally broke down and cried. A female officer accompanying them embraced me, crying together. Ah, this was reality. Liam was gone. And with that, I lost my beloved son. Overwhelmed with grief, I barely remember anything about the funeral. I even forgot my anger towards Chloe, focusing only on what needed to be done. There was so much I wanted to say, to talk about, but at that time, I couldn't. The police, seeing my state, decided to postpone their questioning. They planned to talk to Chloe in the meantime, but I doubted she would reveal anything. My intuition told me that Chloe was the reason Liam was driven to despair. Why didn't I contact Liam right away? Why didn't I go to him immediately? My heart was flooded with regrets, and for a while, I couldn't even speak. During this time, I received a letter. My hands trembled as I saw the sender's name. It was Liam's name. The handwriting was unmistakably his. Liam should have passed away 13 days ago. Panicking, I hurried back to my room and opened the envelope. Tears flowed naturally as I embraced the letter from Liam. It must have been a letter he wrote to me before his passing. With no suicide note and the real cause shrouded in darkness, I was scared to see its contents. Yet, this letter might reveal what happened to Liam. The cause that had been eating away at him for years. As I cautiously opened the letter, it was filled with words of gratitude towards me. My body started shaking uncontrollably, and I couldn't stop sobbing. Why couldn't I have saved him? Why, oh why? The same questions kept repeating in my head. As I tried to put the letter back into the envelope with trembling hands, I noticed another piece of paper inside. What's this? When the folded paper was unfolded, it revealed unbelievable words written on it. Take revenge on my wife for me, it read, followed by an unfamiliar address. Is this where Liam wants me to go? The tears had stopped, but cold sweat broke out. I couldn't imagine Liam ever using the word revenge. He must have been pushed to the edge. What could I possibly find out there? I had been cooped up at home since the funeral but immediately rushed out. I was so absorbed that I even forgot to put on makeup. But now, that didn't matter. I wanted to honor my dear son's last wish. With that sole purpose, I hurried to the address written in the letter. The place Liam specified in his letter was a rental storage facility, a short distance from my home. Among the rows of storage units, I found the one numbered in the letter. I inserted a thin, small key that was attached to the letter into the lock and opened the door. The small room, about the size of a half-bedroom, was dimly lit and slightly musty, despite it being daytime. When I pressed the switch next to the door, the exposed fluorescent light buzzed to life, illuminating the room. What is this? Inside, the room was slowly becoming brighter, revealing a desk with several photos placed haphazardly on it. Surrounding it were scattered pieces of notepaper, and the floor was littered with notebooks and empty plastic bottles. The scene was bizarre, and I couldn't believe that Liam had used this place. Liam, always meticulous about his personal space and belongings, couldn't have been responsible for this disarray. My body instinctively felt fear, trembling all over. I was about to see something I shouldn't. The scene before me was a clear warning. I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Reluctantly, I focused on the photos on the desk, where I saw Chloe. But she wasn't alone. Chloe was holding hands intimately with an unknown man. As I looked at the other photos, each one captured the two of them. These photos undoubtedly served as proof of infidelity. Though I had suspected it from the letter, Chloe was the cause of Liam's stress. While there might have been some stress from work, it was undoubtedly Chloe's fault that Liam took his life. Trembling, I frantically began to go through the notes and notebooks. The notebook was filled with small writing, detailing the exact date and time when Chloe said specific things to Liam. It meticulously recorded the things Chloe had done to him. She called him useless. She hit him. The horrific nature of these accounts made my heart scream. Why didn't I notice? Why didn't Liam say anything to me? The more I thought, the more wise filled my mind. In addition to Liam's handwritten notes, there were also reports that he must have commissioned from someone else. The photos seemed to be the result of a private investigation into Chloe's infidelity. I also found several USB drives in an envelope on the desk. I packed them into my bag and closed the storage unit door. Staying any longer felt like it would drive me insane. The place was swirling with Liam's resentment. Even I, as his mother, was mercilessly assaulted by it. I'm sorry, Liam. Filled with hatred for Chloe, who had changed my son so drastically, I resolved to seek revenge. Why did Liam have to endure this? Why didn't he seek help from anyone? I vowed to find answers and avenge Liam's unresolved grievances. Back home, I delved into the cruel treatment and evidence of Chloe's infidelity that Liam had left behind. Several times, I was overwhelmed by panic and nausea. It was an excruciatingly painful and self-destructive task. Waves of regret for not being able to do anything overwhelmed me, and I couldn't stop my tears. Even if I fulfilled my revenge, Liam wouldn't come back. But I couldn't just stand still. I forced myself to think about what to do with the evidence Liam had left. The police would soon come to inquire. Should I hand these over then? No, that seemed too lenient. Liam ended his life, hating Chloe and her affair partner. What should I do to ensure Liam rests in peace? Just then, the doorbell rang, indicating a visitor. Could it be the police visiting? When I checked the intercom camera, a familiar face appeared. Hello, it's Smith here. The young man bowing to the camera was Daniel Smith. He had been Liam's friend since high school. When I opened the door, Smith, dressed in a suit, bowed again with a solemn expression. I invited him in, and he asked to pay respects at Liam's altar, so I led him to the prayer room. Smith took some offerings out of his bag and sat in front of the altar. After praying fervently for a while, he turned back to face me. His expression had changed from before. It looked like he had made some kind of decision. Smith adjusted the glasses on his left hand, then reached into his pocket and took something out. It was a letter. Smith, maintaining his posture, placed the letter he had taken out on the floor and extended it towards me. It was the same letter I had received from Liam. This is a letter from Liam. I understand you've received one as well, he said. Liam had sent a letter asking for revenge against Chloe not only to me, his mother, but also to Smith. As his mother, it's one thing for me to be involved, but I can't drag Smith, an outsider, into this. It pained me to deny Liam's wish, but I expressed this to Smith. However, Smith rejected that idea. Even if it's about revenge, I have no intention of doing anything illegal. I'm sure Liam wouldn't have wanted that, he said directly to me, making me realize something. Right. What was I thinking? Shocked by Liam's loss, I was swayed by the word revenge. I had no clear plan, and being alone, I might have done something drastic. Did Liam consider this and also leave a letter for Smith? I gave you one at the funeral, but here it is again, Smith said, pulling out a business card case from his pocket. The card he handed me bore Smith's name and his professional details. At that time, I couldn't discuss things in detail and could only hand you my card somewhat abruptly. Now that I think about it, I do remember Smith giving me his card at the funeral. He had visited our house several times during high school and even attended the wedding. I remember thinking it odd to receive a business card then, but I was too shocked to check it. Back then, I hadn't paid attention to Smith's words. At that time, Smith had indeed said, "If you have any trouble, please contact me." The business card he handed me read, Smith Law Office. That's right. After graduating high school, Smith had pursued a career in law. I knew he had been coming to our house, but all I knew was that he was working in New York. I never imagined he had become a lawyer. Smith had received Liam's letter and decided to seek revenge within the confines of the law. Having lost a dear friend, he came to my house with that determination. "I've closed my office for a while," he said, smiling for the first time. It was a familiar smile. Smith, as a friend, wanted to help Liam and me, insisting on not taking any money. Along with the letter, Liam had sent a substantial amount of money as a retainer fee via registered cash mail. But Smith handed it all back to me. "I can't accept this. Please let me do this as a friend, as the least I can do since I couldn't help him," he said, bowing again. I hastily stopped him and decided to keep the money temporarily. Not just me, Smith was also suffering from not being able to save Liam. I should consider Smith's feelings as well. I told Smith about the contents of Liam's letter and what I found in the storage unit. "But let's take a break first. You must be tired from your journey. How about some tea?" Despite our shared urgency, it felt reassuring to have a strong ally in Smith. The same must be true for Smith. We both needed to calm down. I welcomed Smith as my son's friend. When Smith saw the documents I handed him, he let out a deep sigh. "This is tough." He said, words that could be for me or perhaps just slipped out unintentionally. The man Chloe was having an affair with was named Owen Jones. According to the notes Liam left, Jones knew Liam as well. He had repeatedly threatened Liam to leave Chloe and continued to harass him. Smith, knowledgeable in law, said that Jones was as guilty as Chloe. Even if they don't admit to the affair, there are photos and evidence left by Liam. With this, we should have enough to fight back. As a lawyer, I can't do anything in court, but I have the knowledge. While it would mean bringing charges against the two people who drove Liam to his end, doing so would render Smith's role as a lawyer unnecessary. This is because he has no intention of defending either of them. The end goal would be to organize Liam's evidence and submit it to the police, and then to press for substantial damages against the two. We will submit what Liam left to the police and bring the two to justice, Smith said, almost as if to reassure himself. He needed to maintain his composure. I explained to Smith that I was scheduled to speak with the police soon. With all this evidence, Chloe and Jones would face some punishment, regardless of what they said. However, I desperately wanted to speak directly with Chloe. As a mother, I felt obligated to face her. I told Smith that I wanted to speak with Chloe without revealing the existence of Liam's evidence. Smith readily agreed, saying, "Of course." Once Smith compiled the evidence and submitted it to the police, there might not be another chance to talk to Chloe. There was no telling when the police might come to me. Time was running short. I decided to go to Chloe's place right away, without any prior notice. Chloe showed confusion upon my unexpected visit. It seemed she thought I wouldn't recover from the shock of the funeral. She must have felt awkward because she had previously shown her true nature over the phone. She seemed internally anxious about what I might say. I know everything from Liam. He's not coming back, but apologize right now. Apologize to Liam. I couldn't hold back anymore upon seeing Chloe living her life as if nothing had happened. Before I realized it, I had naturally started speaking. What are you talking about? Why should I apologize? What have I done? Chloe's face froze in shock upon hearing my words, becoming frantic. Seeing her reaction, I realized that Chloe had been uneasy these past few weeks. She had been worried all along about when her crimes would be exposed. That's why she reacted so sensitively to my words. Although she might deceive the police who don't know the truth, she couldn't fool me. I knew everything from Liam. Your affair with a man named Jones, all the terrible things you've done to Liam, it's all your fault. You took Liam from us. I chose my words deliberately and threw them at Chloe. As expected, she became even more agitated. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't done anything. Chloe covered her ears and shook her head in denial. Her psyche was already broken, and my visit completely shattered it. She collapsed, repeating while crying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. I regretted not realizing sooner. If I had been stronger, perhaps Chloe would have changed her behavior towards Liam. It's frustrating to think that such a person continued to torment Liam. I contacted Smith and explained what had happened. Smith chose to explain everything to the police right there. He seemed surprised that the resolution came so quickly, not expecting Chloe to admit her guilt. I thought Chloe would resist more and never admit her guilt. But the outcome was anticlimactic. Later, I learned that Chloe never imagined Liam would take his own life. Chloe thought by harassing him, Liam would initiate the divorce. Without any proof of her affair, she wouldn't have to pay alimony and had no intention of admitting to the affair. She planned to claim that Jones was just a friend. It was a crazy plan, but both of them thought it would work. Liam didn't consult anyone and didn't file a lawsuit based on the evidence he collected because he still loved Chloe. He hoped she would repent and cut ties with Jones. But he must have realized his wish would never come true. Liam could have taken revenge himself, but he was too distraught to make a rational decision. He couldn't bring himself to sue Chloe. Unaware of Liam's kindness, Chloe continued to push him to the edge. After Smith contacted the police, Chloe and Jones were taken in for questioning. Jones was quickly found, and the evidence left by Liam exposed their crimes. Since then, Chloe has become unable to speak properly. Even after receiving a guilty verdict along with Jones, Chloe remains confined in a police hospital. The story became national news, with the crimes of Jones and Chloe rapidly spreading across the country. Liam's death was acknowledged as a result of their actions. Smith's efforts played a significant role, and he perfectly handled the claim for damages. As expected, Jones lost his job. His sins became known to his company and friends, leaving him without a single acquaintance. Even if he re-enters society, he will have to continue paying damages and remain the subject of rumors. That's the severity of the crimes they committed. Chloe, meanwhile, remains in her unchanged state, with no prospect of recovery according to the doctors. Ever since, she has been repeating apologies, unable to sleep without medication. The two were exposed and punished according to the law. However, Liam won't return. Did we manage to fulfill his last wish? After witnessing their conviction, Smith decided to return to New York.
Thank you for everything. I don't know if this has brought any solace, but I hope we did something for Liam,
he said with a somber expression as I saw him off. Liam was lucky to have a friend like you, Smith. Thank you so much. Overwhelmed with heartfelt gratitude, Smith, slightly flustered, responded.
I just did what I could as a friend. Please, don't be so formal.
With a smile, he started walking away. Without him, I might have lost my composure. Who knows what could have happened? I secretly struggled to keep my anger at bay and remain calm, deeply appreciative of Smith's efforts in judiciously handling the situation. Although he was no longer there to see it, I continued to bow my head in gratitude. Afterwards, Smith established a volunteer organization to assist people burdened with various troubles. This allowed even those with financial difficulties to access legal remedies. Perhaps his inability to save Liam fueled this endeavor. Smith continues this work alongside his job, aiding many people. Just a few weeks ago, Smith came to visit Liam's tomb. During his recent visit, Smith introduced me to his wife and their newborn child. No matter how busy he is, he always makes sure to visit a few times a year. Liam would surely be delighted by this. As for myself, I quit the part-time job I had been working since Liam's passing. I felt there was something unique only I could do. Without the knowledge or power of someone like Smith, I still believed there was something I could contribute. That's when I decided to volunteer for a group that supports families who have lost their loved ones. I joined an organization founded by a doctor who practices internal medicine nearby. We worked together to face various people and their problems. I was saved by Smith and managed to recover from my grief. I wanted to help others who have sunk into despair like I did after losing Liam. With that intention, I started this activity. Gradually, I realized that this is where I belong. Not only does this work save grieving families, but it might also help prevent tragedies like Liam's. My involvement with this work led to a close relationship with the doctor who started the organization. I hadn't planned for this, and at times, I feel guilty towards my late husband and Liam. However, I've come to think that perhaps it's alright for me to find happiness too. I've come to the realization that it's okay for me to think this way, and thus, I've gradually started a new relationship. Even if I fall in love again, I will never forget my husband and Liam. I intend to live carrying their memories with me. So, it's alright for me to be happy, isn't it?